That'll be the intro. Kate twerking.
We just watched Everything Everywhere All at Once, a movie written and directed by the Daniels, starring Michelle Yeoh, and produced by A24 Films.
All right, Joe, you give your first rundown.
This is the Joey section.
This is the so just give me a general.
We're just gonna do all of Joey's.
I think the husband carried the entire movie, in my opinion. Actually, his acting was really good.
You've seen Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah.
Remember the little Asian kid from the movies?
Mm-hmm.
That's him.
What?
He hasn't acted since.
I love that guy.
No, he hasn't acted since.
Short Round.
And yeah, Short Round. And he read the script for this movie, and he got back into acting just so he could play this role.
All right, Joe, what do you think of the movie overall as a complete package?
I think some of the ideas they were trying to give off were kind of convoluted, but I feel like overall it was good.
Well, what would you recommend this movie?
Yeah. Not to everyone, but I would recommend it.
I know Tony and I have already seen it. This is my third time watching it. Even on a third rewatch, this movie holds up as the best movie I have seen in multiple years. And every time I watch it, it brings me to tears. You guys didn't see me, I was crying over there. The first time I watched this movie, when Haley and I were in the theaters, I just happened to say, oh, I want to see this movie. And Haley wanted to see Sonic 2.
I think this movie is better than Sonic 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't cry too much at media, you know. And it takes a lot of emotion and heart to really do that to me. For pretty much the whole second part, Haley and I were fucking babies in the theater, just fucking sobbing until the end of the movie. The movie really hit me in a way just because it tackles these ideas that I personally am very attached to, in stories. I love seeing kind of debates on nihilism, optimism presented in very creative and unique ways, and especially existentialism. Some of my favorite series have strong themes of that, like Nier and other series. But this movie hits it in such a creative way that just hits me deeply. It's ideas that I think about a lot, and I mean, it got me. It's not going to be a movie forever. Shut the fuck up. Haley's calling me right now. Haley, I was just talking about you in this college movie review.
You're being recorded right now.
You're being recorded, by the way.
I just watched a really sad video about a cat that was 1 hour away from being euthanized and he got rescued.
Cade mentioned earlier, this movie made him cry. I didn't get there, but I was close multiple times. I think this movie is fantastic. Highly recommend. I have very small select of issues, and they're extremely nitpicky and small. This movie is amazing. It's one of the best movies I've seen in a few years. If I put in tier ranking, A+ tier. If I had to put it in a number ranking, I'm gonna go with 8 to 9, probably a 9, which is a lot for me because I'm a really pretentious asshole.
I'll say 4.1 out of 5.
I'd give it a fucking 10. An S tier. I don't care. It's not going to be a movie for everyone, but there is something for everyone in this movie. I showed this to my mom. She thought it was stupid that it got deep, but she loved the action and sci-fi aspect of it. It has something for everyone, and if you like all of these different ideas together, it will probably be one of the best movies you've ever seen. I just want to give the utmost amount of appreciation towards the people who worked on this movie, because they worked on a quarter of a Marvel movie's budget, and it looked infinitely better than all of them combined. Just even from such a small standpoint, from just, camera angles to fucking even props, even custom props made for the movie. It's incredible. Very impressive. Well, I was gonna tell you guys this. In that shot where Evelyn is basically, it's the fucking seizure-inducing scene where it's you see her going through all these universes. There's actually a one frame in there. It's a picture of Evelyn's face on Zoom, and the VFX editors are on the side editing the movie on Zoom during the pandemic.
I noticed that.
So there's a shot of just them editing the fucking movie in that, which I think is really funny.
This is called Josh's segment, and Tony's gonna cut out all the boring parts, which will probably be 90% of it. Basically, what the movie is about, it's a very metaverse, parallel universes type of thing. It dabbles with time stuff a tiny bit, but ultimately what the movie is, it's a movie just about family. It uses a very cool gimmick to explore that plot, which is such a rare thing that movies do. So many movies are the gimmick is the movie. This movie uses the gimmick to tell its story, and that distinction alone makes this movie so much better than a lot of stuff that's ever been made.
Some movies do the opposite kind of thing where they put so much more into the story, but they miss out on having some kind of delivery vehicle to some kind of vehicle to deliver, which is very fun to watch surface level.
Just to give another example of how much effort and talent went into this movie, a lot of the shots in this movie and a lot of different aspects of the movie are purposely done visually, completely visually. So when you're looking at things in the past of the character universe, it's done in like a 4x3 kind of like 70s style camera, and everything encompasses that. Even down to the subtitles for the Mandarin is brought down to that 4x3 style, which is so impressive to me because that means that they were specifically looking for that to put it in for realism. They didn't put that text just over the movie to help out the viewer. No, that they distinctly thought about that and how it would play in visually. Or times when the camera were like cracked to show the different universes, the subtitles will crack with it. It is so impressive for such a minute detail that no one is ever going to notice, but if you do notice it, it just adds so much.
Every single thing down to the smallest thing, like I said, props even. Like there's that like when they're in the fucking donut or the fucking bagel room, and like Joy just hands her like a Dr. Seuss book, but it's like everything, it's like the everything bagel, and it's like a custom made fucking book about the bagel. Like just down to that smallest kind of prop like that, everything is meticulously crafted.
It is jam-packed. Every minute has so much content in it. There's not a wasted second in this movie. But let's get to the choreography. It is all done very well. And I say that because you can actually see what's going on, which is the biggest thing when it comes to any action movie, in my opinion. You know, special effects, choreography, all that matters, but none of that really matters if you can't actually tell what's going on. Action is some of the hardest filmmaking to do, especially well, and it nails it 100%.
I remember you said during the one fight scene in the fucking one room where she had the shield, you were saying that's one of the best action scenes you've seen in years.
Yeah.
That shot go hard.
That was so insane. This movie genre bends a lot, and obviously it's part action movie, and it doesn't advertise itself so much as an action movie. It's like making a parody, but also a homage to a lot of different types of movies. But
And really, at the end, it's not even about the action. Really, it's just a vessel for these ideas.
again, every gimmick.
Vessel, that's the fucking word. Vessel, not delivery vehicle. They had scenes that made me feel like it was kind of like an older like kung fu movie, and then at the same time like a newer kind of like sci-fi movie, which was really interesting. The choreography is filled with creative ideas. Like the first one, the fucking fanny pack fight. It's fucking hilarious. It's awesome. I love that shot.
Oh my god. And again, what's so impressive about it is that the movie doesn't self-indulge in it. It uses it as a method to tell their story. To be good at something and to not overindulge with it and get your plot and your story across, that goes beyond just pure talent. That's when you start making real art.
So next, let's
Let's do acting.
acting. Okay, yeah. Oh my god, dude, I'm so happy we're in this universe and not in the universe where Aquafina was cast as the daughter. She was almost cast, by the way. I would have killed myself.
I don't even know who that is.
She is not a very good actress. Sorry, Aquafina, if you're watching.
She's on the tier list.
Yeah, I put her on the tier list in like F tier because I really dislike her acting.
I thought that was about the water.
There is one about the water, but that's in C tier.
There's probably 3 different actors in this movie that really could have won Best Actor for the entire year. I'm being serious. Personally, I think the daughter is the best actor. I was like...
I completely agree. I was about to say the daughter impressed me the most, especially her scream at the end when she told Evelyn to stop. That's what, like, really hit it for me. Her performance, her outburst of emotion.
It's perfect. Oh my god. Everything. She nails every part. She nails the emotional scenes. She nails the comedy. She nails the action. She nails just like this general teenage, like, I don't give a fuck vibe. Her general personality
Shifted to a fucking omniversal being who still has that, like, teenager, like, sense of self. So the fact that she was able to portray that character in such a believable and realistic way, it's honestly almost unbelievable.
We're praising her, but every performance is good. Every single one of them. The dad, I forgot his name. Wyndham. Probably the emotional heart of the movie. And
he 100% is.
And like, here's the thing. Every single one of these roles, you need to have such diversity because the whole gimmick of the movie is there's different universes, different, like, things have happened through people's lives. Almost their entire personalities have changed. I'm so impressed. I can't even, like, put it into words. It's really just really impressive. And even the main character, Evelyn, so many different roles she has to pull off. And again, she nails all of it.
We're not even, like, including a lot of the extras who were, you know, they served their purpose extremely well, even for, like, a lot of the more wacky scenes. Like, the fucking Harry Shum Jr., I think his name is. He was from Glee. Haley talked about him. He played the fucking Raccacoonie guy, and he played his fucking scenes perfectly because it was supposed to be, like, wacky and funny. Jamie Lee Curtis as well. She was fantastic. She played her role so well.
Cinematography, I'm going to start with this one. This has one of the best opening scenes to a movie I've ever fucking seen.
Hey guys, what are we watching?
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
We watched it last time.
This movie is already immediately better than anything else I've seen this year because it's an interesting opening shot.
Josh, you're the most annoying critic ever.
Dude, I love the opening scene and how fucking chaotic it is.
You understand the main character in the opening scene in less than 10 minutes. And within that 10 minutes, it's already showing its gimmick. You see her and her husband busy 24/7. They're constantly stressed. You see the daughter right away. You understand they have a kid. It's like, okay, they're a hard-working family, maybe immigrants. It's hard to tell. They have a busy laundromat. You see they have to deal with so much stuff at the same time. They've slowly, over time, especially Evelyn, kind of turned into a bitch, basically. She's saying all these mean things to people. She's mean to her husband. She's mean to her. And you get a complete feel of how this household works in 5 minutes. It gets you hooked immediately. It gives you all the necessary information you could ever want with amazing pacing, and it gets right into the plot in interesting ways.
Finding out that Jobu Tupaki is Joy, you hear her voice, you see a figure that kind of looks like her, and so you're like, oh, it's probably Joy. But then when she, you know, shifts universe, which I love that transition, by the way. The transition is fucking cool. I don't know why.
It's a hard as fuck transition. I don't know if we have it recorded, but we'll play that.
I think I do have it recorded.
They might be close.
I don't know why I love that transition so much.
That was hard.
It goes so hard.
I have one shot I don't like at the entire fucking movie.
Which one?
Near the very end of the movie, it's when they hug and it fades to black. I didn't like it. That's the only fucking criticism I have when it comes to any of the cinematography.
My one complaint about that is that near the end of the movie, Evelyn takes like a belt and turns. Maybe I was like looking away for this. I don't know, but I feel like when she takes the belt and turns it into a lasso and pulls Jobu Tupaki down, it just kind of cuts to Jobu Tupaki just kind of like on the last few stairs, and it feels a little bit off for me.
I noticed that too, but it wasn't egregious enough.
Yeah, no, that's literally my only nitpick. That's the only thing I have that I was like, okay, maybe just a little bit. That's it.
Now we're going to talk about sound design. I have a few more issues with this, but they're so incredibly minor. I'm probably the only person that noticed these. So there's a lot of sound effects that are purposely played for comedy, which I'm totally okay with. You could tell it's purposeful. This movie didn't have the absolute stellar budget that like a Marvel movie had, and you can tell in some ways there's a lot of stock sound effects all over the place actually. And especially like
Josh is the only motherfucker who cares about stock sound effects.
that's an incredibly small nitpick. Like one of the characters drinking something and it was a stock sound effect of them drinking. Like I noticed that. That's it. How many people are really gonna notice that? I'm probably one of the few people that would notice something like that.
The music, especially the music design, is insane too. I mean, I love the soundtrack, dude.
Honestly,
It's fucking incredible.
except for some classical pieces, this movie has no popular music. It's completely original soundtrack. And it nails it. It's memorable. It's good. The music hits all the beats it needs to, and it hits the tone of each scene so well. Especially when they use classical music, it adds to the scene. Every part of the music they use adds to the scene. What should we move on to next?
Special effects, like visual effects.
Yeah, let's do that. They are very clever in how they use special effects they can't always have the budget for. If they have to use CGI, and there is CGI in this movie, a decent bit of it actually, the only two instances I can think of not the absolute best CGI is like near the beginning of the movie, they're going to one of the office building for the IRS, and the building looked a bit strange, and with one part when she was like a chef, some dude lit something on fire and the fire looked bad. That's it. Everything else looked fantastic, or at least good enough that I didn't notice it. I think we're gonna include costume design in this as well, just because it is visual, and I mean,
So good.
there's really no complaints. It is absolutely one of the highlights of the movie.
Jobu Tupaki, dude, like so many outfits. All the outfits are so unique, and I usually don't care about costume design. Like when I watch a movie, that's like the last thing I care about usually. But when I watch this, it is like the first thing I've noticed about a lot of these characters, that their costumes, they match their characters perfectly.
It's just great. It's absolutely outstanding. It really is a
Look at the
standout.
fucking costume design. I'm looking it up. Shirley Kurata. Yeah, this is her. The GOAT. I love the coloring in this movie. I love the coloring and lighting they use in this movie. The lighting is fantastic. I also don't usually even talk about lighting in movies much, unless it's like, you know, a movie where the lighting is complete fucking dog shit. But you just have to watch the movie to understand. The coloring is so unique, and especially in like a lot of the fucking wild, like, you know, mind-bending scenes, the color helps so much to make every single one of these almost meaningless universes unique in their own right, which also just ties into the fucking theme of the movie like that nothing is meaningless. Like everything and nothing is meaningless. But I will point out one of my favorite shots and one of my favorite uses of color is the scene where Evelyn and Waymond are looking at each other, and like there's the coloring on his face and like the color on her face, when it's kind of going between universes, showing Evelyn's love for Waymond throughout every universe and his optimism. Just the coloring on their faces, it fucking makes me cry. I don't know why, but the coloring adds so much to that scene.
There's so much going right there. You have amazing acting, visual acting. You could see it on their faces. It's amazing color, like Kate said. It's amazing just shots in general. Good editing, good music. Everything lines up perfectly. All right, I think the last thing we should probably talk about is
Second last. Let's talk about the comedy real quick.
the
It was
comedy.
funny. It was really funny. It had so much heart to it. There's so many ridiculous scenes that were so funny. Like one of my favorite standouts is the fucking butt plug fight.
Oh no. He's jumping right on this thing. Oh my god. Oh no. Oh my god.
I think the Rakakuni bit is extremely funny. That had me dying the first time I watched it.
I like that, it's an animatronic.
Yeah, I liked how kind of like shitty the animatronic was, but it made it goofy and funny. Which
It
was
made
the
it
point.
better.
It made it better. If it was like a super realistic raccoon, it would feel weird.
Yeah.
It wouldn't match the
If it
tone.
was CGI, it would have been bad.
Yeah, and it wouldn't match the tone.
I think the movie's just extremely funny. I mean, like, there's a few jokes that don't hit 100% for me, but most of all the humor they're going for, I think, lands. Really.
Yeah, no, you don't laugh in movies. You don't laugh in like any movies or shows. And
If
I
I
saw you
laugh
laugh.
at some-
I saw you laugh a few times, like out loud.
If I laugh at something, it's usually because it's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think the final section, just talk about the plot and themes.
This is a tough one.
The thing is, I said this at the beginning of us discussing it, and I said it multiple times, and I said it for a reason. Every aspect of this movie, 100%, every aspect that we talked about, all of that list we just talked about, all for one purpose, is to tell just a family story. A story about a dysfunctional family that realizes that they ultimately need each other. It has so much heart. You care about these characters. You understand every character. You sympathize with every character.
I especially love that you could go in this movie and just watch it as simply this family story, but it's so much more than that. It can be translated to so many different themes that all lie under the idea of just optimism versus nihilism. Just in the end, that's what it is. That this universe is every universe is so big and meaningless, and it's just the classic idea of just, you know, should you fall in that pit, say life is meaningless, so death is like acceptable, or life is meaningless, so I should make my own meaning, so I should continue, so we can do anything.
I think one of the biggest themes of the movie is that life sucks, and we all have our own individual ways of dealing with it. And I think the real message of the movie is that optimism is a way of dealing with it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I think that's one of the main messages of the movie, and I think that's the main point.
It's hard to bring all my thoughts together and put in a cohesive way.
Don't
But
worry, we have editing for that.
But I love how the movie shows this not in just one example that's kind of loose and kind of weak. They show it in so many different ways. Like in the fucking hot dog fingers universe, which was just a joke at first. They turn that into an actual serious thing and show that when your hands don't fucking work, you get good at piano with your feet. You continue, you move on, you
It's
struggle.
such a cheesy message, but it works so hard. Again, to show that every single millisecond of this movie adds to the theme.
I especially love a lot of the dialogue choices. The line that always fucks me up is the in another life I really would have loved doing taxes and laundry with you. Like that, such a good line, man. That is like my highest point of the movie. I also love the rock scene. The rock scene is incredible. Just watch this movie. If you can, watch this movie. It won't be for everyone. I know my mom hated it. She didn't hate it, she just didn't like it.
It's okay, not everyone is used to consuming good media.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say, honestly.
Of course we're gonna give it the fucking big slap.
Big slap.
Video end, bye.
No, wait.